10 months ago, how, Mr. Mayor?
Give or take, something like that.
10 months ago it was, we approved them to go after a grant. Had we gotten a packet of what the grant looked like, what we asked for? Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
No,
Well,
we haven't.
hold
And so all I'm saying, so we gave the approval for them to go after the grant. This,
I don't mean to be rude, but I have been a citizen here since we carved things in stone. In other words, I'm an original family. I was here before the city was incorporated. And I have sat through many meetings, council meetings throughout the years. And this is a redundant thing among the citizens, and we have accomplished nothing. Now, the issue here tonight is the sewer system and the lift stations and what have you. Hasn't it improved since you've been handling it?
yes, ma'am.
That is the point. Let's move on to something else, please.
Please.
Ms. Webster, you had something.
I've almost forgotten.
Well, if you remember, raise your hand.
I agree with the mayor in part, it is too much contention.
Yes.
And my problem is this, I want to tell, and I'm not trying to school him, but I want Councilman Rowland to know you have two forms of communication. You have written communication and oral communication. Personally, I think you're being a little too ticky. I see this as free money. And we must respect the mayor in as much as he's trying to move the city. In 2015, I had water to back up through my tub, through my commode. Certainly, we need to improve these streets that are listed here on this sheet. Furthermore, most of our people that are sitting at that desk do not live in Prairie View. Councilman Jones doesn't live here. I don't know where Councilman Rowland lives. But Councilman Rowland has been on the council longer in the political arena, longer than Mayor Allen has been mayor. And you know, these kinds of meetings just stir up the dandruff in your hair. Respect the mayor. If he's trying to do something to improve the city, he's not taking this money and putting it in his house on Pine Street or wherever he lives. This isn't to improve the streets that are listed here. What more information do you need? We have $350,000 of free money. Why can't we go ahead and use this? What is the argument? You need to know this and you need to know that and you need to know the other. Mayor, I suggest that you vote, that you check with the citizens of Prairie View and those persons who live in Alta Vista, see, and y'all don't call this Alta Vista, I was lost.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
Yes, you are, we can tell.
That did cause a little humor. Hey, Alta Vista. And I didn't know at what point I was to listen, then there comes a mayor with Alta Vista. You know, I forgot my point. I think you should get, when Ms. Brown asked what is Plan B, what is Plan C, it's not what the council wants. They don't live here.
well, let's not go.
They don't live here. Let's move on and approve.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make a correction before this discussion goes any further. There was not an item on the agenda at our last meeting about reviewing the grant. The only thing that was asked was to approve the signatures for a checking account to draw the money down. If there was some discussion or lack of clarity or some ambiguity about the grant, then that could have been handled at a later time. The only thing that the council was asked to do, the only thing, was to approve us receiving the money, period.
Right. Johnson?
My question,
I'm sorry. Ms. Weatherspoon's been up and down. I'm sorry.
No, I just would like for us to go forward, because to me, the contention, Pastor, you said it better than I could. We just need solutions now, and jamming at each other politely, come on, guys. We're all after the same issue, which is for Prairie View to go forward.
Yes.
I was born on that campus, and that my house is the first house of Alta Vista. It was there, and we need this help. However we got there, the council, Brian has made it very clear, Councilman, that they have no hang up with it. You've made it clear what your desire is.
Right.
Let's go forward. You don't have to prove your point that is already settled. can we please go to Plan B? That's all I'm saying.
Hold on, we got this. Yes, sir.
All right, my question was to,
Yeah, hold up, let's listen up to the question, go ahead.
my question was to USW. I heard you guys say basically that we have one main pump that pumps, from Dooley Street, to the university. Could we go into looking into having like a secondary pump somewhere else, so that way it'll rush and then it'll meet up?
It's a lift station right there. So that lift station actually is fabricated for 3 pumps. It currently has 2. It has the capacity for the 3rd pump. And that's what we were talking about, adding another pump, because that will take away any kind of a backup in the collection line.
But,
Let me start from the beginning, because I
but that
understand
would
what you're
still,
saying.
that would still go to that one pump. Why won't we place the pump somewhere else? Because I do know, like, other projects are coming about. And so with other projects coming about, more housing opportunities, that we should possibly look into, like, weighing that option of having, adding a 3rd pump there or having a secondary.
Additional lift station
Right.
is what you're.
I had that conversation with the university, when we went toward opening up H.T. Jones Elementary School.
Mhm.
And it's gonna take some work, but Bradford and them are taking, because again, it's new, and, you know, we haven't been dealing with this for that long. Because my position was, why do we have H.T. Jones set up to add to the Alta Vista lift station when the university is right across the street? When I asked that question, and it was at a meeting with, you know, city leadership, engineers and all that, no one could answer that. I said, well, it does, because they said, you know, it's gonna go here, and I'm thinking, you're adding to all these already overworked sewer lines and lift stations, and I was looking at that point at the utility bill. When you say the utility bill for the city is over $8,000 a month, and the majority of it is the constant pumping, or it was, of these lift stations, because they're working against gravity, and with this rain that we've been incurring and the infiltration that we're trying to fix with this and other things, they've been overworking. So all of these things, in my mind, are connected. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Gomes, you had a question?
Yeah, I think I understood you to say, a technical question and then a policy question. I think I understood you to say that you would sort of encapsulate the clay pipe?
No, not encapsulate, it's slip lining. So actually you're going inside the clay pipe
Okay,
and opening up a polyurethane line.
so the circumference would be less than the current circumference of the clay pipe? Would that mean that they would carry less? Are they flexible enough to?
No, it's slightly less than the 8 inches that you have, the
Right.
circumference of the 8 inches. You may have now 7 5/8.
So do you think that for future growth that is sufficient?
That particular area is, I think it's already grown out. You're
It's
not
just for
gonna
that
have-
neighborhood.
Right, it's just for that neighborhood. So you're not gonna have any more development in that neighborhood.
That
If you-
neighborhood has several vacant lots, it has some dilapidated houses that hopefully would be rehabbed, so I'm just making sure that
Right.
you've taken that into.
And that's what it was designed, yes, the original design of that area, the 8 inch, that's why you have that 8 inch diameter pipe running through that area now, because that's what it was designed for.
Is that the
capacity.
industry standard at this point in time?
Oh,
8
no,
inches?
oh, no, you have up to 24-inch trunk lines. I mean,
That what's the standard?
For that type of area, eight is
Yeah.
good. Eight is good for
Okay.
that small area.
The policy question is, considering that the current system works in tandem with the university, and considering that the university has all of the leverage at this point in time, isn't this improvement of what is actually the university's capacity to treat water paying in more to their system, and is the city gonna get credit for that?
No, it's actually gonna decrease by cutting out the infiltration and inflow. We're gonna have less rainwater going in there because now the
Oh,
pipes are sealed.
understand, but that improves their ability to treat the water.
Well, it
We're
actually,
improving their system, spending money that could have, another CDBG could have been used for several other things in the city.
Yeah, but see, our responsibility is to make our system run, and whatever we get to them, they charge us for. Right now, we're getting a lot more to them than we're supposed to because of these holes in the sewer lines. So all that's gonna do is really help us. You know, it'll help their system on the back end,
Right.
but
That's what she said.
we're not charged with their system one way or another. We're just gonna be paying less because we're shooting less through there.
Here's what I'm asking, given that you're saying to the university, let's go back, since we don't know what the original agreement was.
Right.
And so you're contemplating, I think you're laying the ground rule to set up an appropriate agreement. I'm asking you, at that time, whoever's responsible for doing that,
Sure.
do you intend to task the university with this infrastructure improvement?
No.
Because this $350,000 could have been used someplace else in Prairie View if we weren't in this situation with the university. If we had a better agreement, the university might be responsible for maintaining some of this.
Well, I don't see that only because, and I'll give you a good example. When we go to fix someone whose sewer system is broke at their house, ours starts around the easement, our
I
responsibility.
understand your analogy.
When it goes into the yard, it becomes the owner's responsibility, and that's kind of like this. Our job is whatever we get to them, they're gonna charge us for, whether it's more or because we improve this, it's less, but their responsibility doesn't come out into the city.
I guess we could say the same thing though, couldn't we? Since the city is getting to them a large amount of product, and you're saying that whether it's a half pipe or a full pipe, we're still being charged for it. So I guess the university could come back and make your same argument against us.
Once we get the numbers on the rain versus the non-rain days,
Which we could also get from weather reports.
yeah, if we had the staff, we could do that in-house. Right now, you're kind of looking at that staff.
Take
So-
about 20 minutes digitally.
Be great, love to have your help on that.
I would love to help.
I got a
Yes,
question.
sir.
I know we're talking about sewage and those things. Is there any kind of, in this particular grant here, is it going to include the drainage? You know, repairing of the drainage, how the water runoff, maybe, you know that it's but Sandra Bland Park is right there, right behind, Elm Street is right here, then you have that creek that's back there, it's kind of, there's a lot of stuff that's collected by there. Is there any kind of, far as the drainage around the city, is that going to be any, or you are looking for other, you all are looking for other monies for that?
We've got the, our flood committee, and we actually have another meeting with some folks. But between U.S. Department of Agriculture, she's working with us, and right now, they agreed to pay because we have so much going on, they want to help.
Right.
They agreed to pay for our city engineer to do a study because the plan, as people want to know what the plan is, and we've talked about it, a lot of options. One of the biggest options is the city needs to have its own wastewater treatment plant.
Right.
Something that should have gone on long ago.
Right.
But I met with Texas Water Development Board, and they have a program, and we're weighing theirs against now the Texas Department of Agriculture is looking at financing that. So working with our finance people, taking a look at, okay, this is how much we're paying. If this is the loan come back from the city engineer's report, let's say it's $25 million hypothetically. Please don't quote me, I said hypothetically. It might be 30, might be 20, I don't know. I don't know much about those things. But what's the monthly payment and how much are we taking in and paying the university now? Because my feeling is, from a business standpoint, that we can fund that, get off of the university situation, and I've got him checking south, because this lift station nightmare has got to go. And he had actually shared with me, I said, well, can we just turn them and then they'll work less electricity, less maintenance, less hassle? He said, when we go with gravity, we won't even need them all. I said, that's what we need to do. So if we put a wastewater treatment plant on the south end of the city, which he's doing a study to get back to me for me to bring to the council and the public, and USDA is paying for him to do that report, then they're going to follow up and see about paying to fund, based on the report, helping us get this system so all of these issues can go where they need to, away.
One other question, Mayor.
Yes.
Concerning, you know, I know Ms. Boyer, different people that have been here for many years that have suffered because of these things. Is there any kind of consideration, I know it's a hypothetical question now, on, again, some kind of credit or something to the residents here or working with them to help in that situation?
I'll just say all things are possible.
I'm just saying, could that happen? Because
Anything can happen,
because a
it
lot
just
of
needs to
stuff-
come
right,
in
a
front
lot
of the
things
council.
happen.
I mean, when I heard Ms. Boyer's story, and then when I saw and checking on some of you what was going on in your homes, because I was out there in that bad weather, and what was going on with Mr. Perry,
Yes, sir.
I just thought it was criminal.
Yes.
And I guess according to TCEQ, it is criminal.
Yes.
But they didn't want to get the city in trouble. Well, yes, we need to fix it. And that's what we're working hard to do. And that's what this is going to do. We fixed Mr. Perry's because his situation was directly tied to Greenfield. We did that 7-8 months ago or something like that.
It was right before August.
Okay? And this will fix Ms. Boyer and some of the other people who are going through. So when they ask what the plan is, as we get the money, we've been fixing stuff. That's the plan. Now, what I would like, and I've encouraged council to assist with that. If you've got ideas, I encourage them. Bring them forward. Chair that committee. Because I wear more hats than I can fit right now. But I'm doing what I can do in going forward because that's my training from Prairie View A&M that I've exercised for the last 40 years. The rest of the stuff, I listen to it because I have to. And then I need to get something done. We need new money in here. We've got development that many of you have heard, some of you are seeing, some folks are complaining about, and I'm okay with that. Y'all need to understand. I feel if somebody ain't complaining about you, you ain't doing nothing. So I'm okay with that. And whatever's legitimate, let's talk about it, let's bring it here, and let's fix it. Because I believe in doing one thing. The Army taught me to follow the rules. So as long as we're following the rules, I'm okay. But that new development, in 12 months or so, the taxes that they're going to be generating to help fix or get a loan and that pays the note for the loan, that's my business mind. You know, because you ain't going to get but so much in grants. That's free money. And I don't believe you should be waiting on just few months. Go after it. But don't just wait on it. What the plan is getting this stuff in here and having it generate the kind of revenue. So if we need to take out a loan, for example, and it's a very low interest loan, and it's right around bond rate, so it'll be real cheap with USDA. Well, let's say it's, I don't know, $3,000 a month, I don't know. But between what we're getting and charging our people for the water sewer bills and having more revenue come in here from additional sales tax with all these people getting offered $290 and leaving some money here like they do in Waller, Hempstead, and everywhere else, we're fixing that. And that's the kind of stuff that's going to help with our water treatment, adding more police personnel. Where people are telling me you're feeling safer. Well, we got a hell of a chief overseeing our water treatment plant. Okay, we'll make sure we stay on the item for this evening. You know, because Chief and them keep our folks safe while they're out there doing their work. But all of those things are connected. And if I've done not the best job in expressing that, then that's on me. And for that, I have no problem apologizing for it. But I want to make sure that I kept the promises of cleaning up the city, making it safer, and getting some new money in here. After that, I sleep well at night, knowing people are going to flush their commodes and it's going to go where it's supposed to. Because that's what this is all about. We live here.
Okay. Is there any other plan for us, you know, he was talking about the rags and the different things, maybe there's some kind of memo can go out or something to the residents to tell them this is causing a problem. You know, I'm just saying.
Actually, that's a great idea.
I don't
Yeah.
That's a great idea, especially,
some kind of memo, this is causing a problem. This happened in your community. If you do this, if you do that. I think people being more informed in a respectable way, you know, because a lot of people haven't been trained. You got, this is predominantly a college town pretty much. So maybe doing orientation, things like that, where you can let the students know not to do this.
Well, after that happened on Sunday, and Glover told me about the ball didn't make sense. And that's why there's a lot, I'm learning every day. And it's, for the most part, a good thing.
Yes, sir.
But I didn't understand the ball he was talking about until you heard it just like I did a few minutes ago.
Oh, yeah.
Now I know the kind of things that make that ball up, because I'm thinking, what are kids or, you know, in a house or students, whatever, what are they putting down there that would create that? Now I've got a better idea, and we can address that like in a newsletter and in a flyer, get some information from yours, and other utility companies have flyers and brochures on that sort of thing. Absolutely.
That was just.
No, and that's a good one, definitely. That's where we need to go.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, do we have one in the back? They will speak for,
Just a
okay.
quick question.
Sure.
I'm sitting up here thinking of a hypothetical, but it may very well come up.
Mhm.
If we decide, the city decides to have our own wastewater treatment plant versus the universities, and you happen to have a majority of university students on city council, and it comes before city council, would there present a conflict of interest? I'm just curious.
I understand. I
That's a
don't
legal
know.
question.
Could they
All
actually
things
vote
are
on that?
possible, but I don't know.
I believe TCEQ. Years ago, Jake Boyer was told that the situation we were living in, if it wasn't corrected, that the city could be charged $10,000 a day until it was repaired. Well, if you know Jake Boyer, you know what his answer was. Oh, Helen Ruth, it's gonna get better. Well, God bless his soul. Being an obedient wife, I didn't complain, but not now. I love the city, but I would have to talk to the city if I could get TCEQ people and let's talk. Because that's unhealthy.
No,
That's
and
unsanitary, that's unthinkable.
I agree, Ms. B. And this thing, as I understand it, and then I was gonna share this on Monday, because we just had the meeting, with project management 2 days ago, day before yesterday, with Nick, is this particular function, once this resolution's in place and one or two other small things, it can be done by June. The problems you and others have had could be gone in literally a couple of months. But we need to move on it, because the time frame it took to get approval, to get the grant and all that, the state and the feds have done their job. They said here. Now it's up to us to do our small details that we need to do to finish
Is
it
it
up.
on the agenda for Monday so councilmen and them can vote about the check-in count?
Yes, ma'am.
And we can make sure all questions and minds are clear for the money, thank you.
Yes, yeah, the resolution's on for Monday. We made, like I said, the change I talked about earlier.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, this is just a small
Now you
little.
sounded like your mom.
Yeah,
Sound like
well,
yourself.
it's just a little small question, because, you know, I hear about Dooley Street, and, you know, I stay over here in Hillcrest, this area back over here. And that's where this new cricket field and all this stuff is coming. So now, with all this stuff that's going to be built and is going on, and I'm looking at the construction over there by the Chevron and on Richards Road and all that,
Is that resolved, the sewage water problem issue? Will it be, for this part of the city?
The sewage situation over there happens to be one of the best one in the city. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why.
Yes.
Well, first off, the problems y'all were having
Yeah.
was because it had wrong kind of pumps, undersized pumps.
Yeah.
We spent the money to fix those things, okay? But the other thing that a lot of people don't understand, everything in PV, from the beginning of University Drive, goes east,
Yeah.
then south, then west, instead of going across the street, it circles the city and winds up through Dooley or out to this lift station. On Richards Road, it goes straight line distance. It goes straight line distance. We've increased that even from the Chevron. We've increased those 2-inch lines, which are like for a house.
Yes.
They're for a house, but they put 2-inch lines there. We fixed that stuff. Silver and them brought it to our attention. USW brought it to our attention, and we fixed it, and we improved it. One pump literally wasn't working. Another one, I think they said was in the shop, and they didn't know where it was and all this stuff. I mean, these are lift stations.
Wow.
So that area has already been improved simply by making sure what's there is supposed to be what's there to work. But the fact that it doesn't have to circle around the city and be dependent on other lift stations except the one on the other side of 290 en route to the university. But now again, think of it this way, not just with that, but with all of them. When we get a wastewater treatment plant somewhere on the south end of the city, all of these problems will be minimized to where somebody would have stopped in their house and take care of it at best. But most of the time, again, it's working like it should be. I think a big part of our problem is the fact that we're lifting it all, which, when you think about it, we're not meant to go against gravity. The laws of gravity are there for a reason, but that's just the way the city was set up based on the university, which was already there and things like that. But again, we're trying to fix something that was there long before I came. But we're working on solutions between Texas Water Development Board and U.S. Department of Agriculture. We're going to get a lift station. Unless this report says we just can't put one anywhere on the south end, which I can't see happening because the engineer would have said that before he agreed to do the report. Yes, sir.
The size line, the new line that you put down, what size is that now? You said it was a 2-inch line?
No, it was 2-inch coming out from the Chevron, and we increased it to what?
4 inch.
4.
4 inch discharge. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So we doubled that, and again, those are newer because that lift station is much newer than the rest of them. Yes,
This
sir.
new construction that's coming, which she mentioned over there, behind the Chevron over there,
Mm-hmm.
we do have an inspector here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's knowledgeable in these things happen, because some kind of way this particular inspector, whoever inspected the Chevron with a 2-inch line, somebody did not do their job. And
Well-
you don't want that down the road.
This one wasn't around back then.
Okay.
This one wasn't around back then.
Okay.
But again, the whole looping of the situation,
I got you.
yeah, it's just, I mean, it's been a lot of hands over the years.
Right, yeah.
But
You
again,
guys are really, I mean.
our thing is,
I pray
how do
for
we
you,
fix it all?
because You come behind a whole bunch of.
And I don't want to do anything but,
Y'all call it, right? Anyway, you come
and don't- yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Just one
Hold
more.
on, we got a question,
Well,
yes,
this is
ma'am.
more of a comment.
Okay.
Do you think when we get this going, I might be able to get that big blue and white sewage pipe out of my front yard that I have covered up with a clay flower pot? I know y'all feel sorry for me.
Yes, we do, Ms. Hurst.
Can we buy her a better flower
But
pot?
I'm gonna milk this for all I can get. I want that.
Let me, if you do me a favor, because as soon as the meeting's over, I'm gonna get 5 or 6 more before I get to the house. Call me and we'll have Mr. Silver and Mr. Glover take a look at it now, and we can get with you guys to see what does it take to get that kind of thing out of your front yard.
Do you know, I asked the workman, I said, when they were finishing, I said, Are you gonna leave that there?
Why, yes.
I said, well, would you have that in your front yard like that? Well, if you had told us you didn't want it there, but did you ask? See, I'm a nice person, because otherwise I could have
Yeah, so we're working on it. Yes, ma'am.
terribly.
Mayor, just a suggestion, going forward. You know, I hear you talking about, this plan for, city of Birdview on wastewater treatment plant and where you think it should be sited and things like that. I think that talking about the lack of communication and the miscommunication earlier with council, if you would share those things with council before a public forum, or even if for some of those meetings, you would invite council to go with you or to be there, then they could feel like they were walking alongside as opposed to always trying to catch up to what you're doing.
Sure, and it's a good point. And this is not the first time council has heard me say, I met with USDA about trying to get a wastewater treatment plant.
But I'm
Now-
saying if you invited them also to meet with USDA.
Well, and totally valid points. But let me say this. When you're trying to get something done and you've got someone that's gonna come to sabotage it, you have to be careful, and that's my words, not yours, so it has nothing to do with you. But what I'm saying is, when all you're doing is being criticized, and I invite you to look at the YouTube videos, because this is real. If we're gonna talk, we're gonna talk.
Yeah.
Everybody says what they got to say about me, well, let me say what I have to say about receiving that. I try to focus on getting something done. And if you're not here to help me, you're here to hurt me, and I am trying to help the citizens, which is the only reason I came out of retirement to run for mayor. So while it's a great idea, you have to work, my background's in business, and you never take somebody to a business deal who's gonna sabotage the deal. That's just my training. The military, the same training. But what I'm saying is, when you're meeting with folks, how many of you have stopped in and found out about our open door policy? Okay? So if USDA or somebody from Houston stops in, I'm gonna take the time to call council people to meet with them? I don't. I meet with them.
Here's what I'm saying.
Some of these meetings aren't planned.
Okay, but some of
Yeah.
them, most of them are. And if you're assuming,
Yeah,
because all of these people are elected by the people.
yes.
And I would think that they have the interests of the citizens at heart, just as you do. If you assume that them being present is gonna kill your deal, maybe that shouldn't be the deal.
Well, it's not
It
my
sounds
deal.
like you're assuming, yeah, you said.
No,
it sounds
it's a
like you're-
city deal.
It
I don't
sounds
have
like you're
deals.
asserting that if there are other viewpoints present that might have questions or quibbles or concerns, founded or unfounded, that they shouldn't be there.
That's an inaccurate assumption. That's not what I
Okay, help me
said.
understand what you said.
That's not what I said. What I said was, when there's something to be done, and I'm in front of someone right now, that is not the time to pick up the phone and call people who some